Today's show is sponsored in part by Muscle Butter USA. Muscle Butter, general company facts. 4-person company. Founders are mountain bikers, car guys, into fitness and real estate. They are Philly-based, and they own 964s in their now 50-car collection. They also have a Series 2A, just like me. The founders of Muscle Butter are adventurers and go-getters, and that's why they created Muscle Butter. It isn't just numbing, it helps inflammation, less pain, made from arnica oil that comes from sunflowers in Montana. Most arnica products contain only 6% oil, but Muscle Butter contains 60%. What does that mean? Muscle Butter USA has 10 times the amount of arnica in it than its competitors, which is the main ingredient to stop swelling and inflammation. Don't eat it. Muscle Butter is a recovery bomb. It's not for your bread. It's made for topical use on affected parts of your body. It goes on your skin, not in your mouth. Check it out. Go to musclebutterusa.com. Use code SPIKE911 for 20% off. musclebutterusa.com. SPIKE911, 20% off. If you got sore legs from tennis like I do, you got to get that Muscle Butter. Let's start the show.
Spike's Car Radio starts now.
And here we are. Here I am. How are you, dear listener? Did you go up to Pebble Beach like I did? Were you at my show, perhaps? Are you the guy that gave me COVID? Is it you? I don't know about you guys. I'm here with Zack and Matt, Smoking Tire. This is very exciting. And Zack, Klapman. I always thought it was Kaplan until you said.
Everyone thinks
a lot of people
I
do.
should just change it.
You should just
You
change
should.
it?
Yeah.
And I should have gotten rid of my last name, Ferriston, and gone right to Donovan. Spike Donovan. It would have been easier, but here we
that
are.
That really sounds like a talk show host name, Spike Donovan.
It would have worked.
Who in Hollywood has changed their name
Everybody.
to the to the thing that people thought it was?
What does that mean?
Meaning, like, if Zack changed his last name to Kaplan,
I see.
has anyone in Hollywood actually
Has
just been
everyone-
like, "Fuck it, I'm going with the mistake"?
gonna
They're going
go with that.
phonetic. They're just
Yeah.
going to go, I'm going to say it.
Just
go with what
like
people
our
say.
friend Gareth Reynolds, if he just changed his name to Gary.
I mean,
Like-
most of the good name changes really work.
Yeah,
and
they
you
do.
go, well, that was really smart that they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, being me, at least twice a week, I'm laying in bed at 3 a.m. going, I really fucked it up. I fucked my whole career by not just going.
You could have done it.
When I had the late night show, I should have just called it At Midnight, because there was no At Midnight at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, what about At Midnight with Spike Donovan? And I'm done.
You're in.
right?
You're in the game.
I
Forever.
am part of the Fox evil empire.
Wait, why Donovan? Why was that your
That's
idea?
my
that came
middle
to mind?
name.
Oh,
That's
it's your
my
middle
middle
name.
name.
Yeah, that's like the Tom
And that's
Cruise
like a
move, right?
formula.
Yeah.
That's like, first name, middle name is the
It's a
formula.
little too, I thought it was a little too shillelagh Irishy, like, hello, Spike Donovan. And,
Yeah.
and then while I am an Irish citizen, I don't identify as a potato eater like my fellow drunken potato eaters. But
But you're right. Most Hollywood name changes for the better.
yeah, so when I named my boys, I gave them middle names that they could then use the same way. And they're already resisting.
So Hollywood of you.
Jack Henry. He can
Yeah.
just be Jack Henry Ferriston. I said,
Yeah.
look,
He could also just be a watch brand.
yeah.
Well, Three Names is a good brand for whiskey, watches,
Right,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
And then James Michael.
Yeah.
He could be James Michael.
Yeah.
Neither
Yeah.
of that. They're like, well, why would we get rid of? Just trust me. It's
You want the option.
every time you're on the phone signing up for something or making.
Yeah.
They go Fernst Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's a life of that.
Yeah.
Is the good middle name a good first name? Is that the move? Like
What do you mean? Is
Like you chose a middle name. I know that you didn't choose them, but the middle names for your kids are also would work as first names. Is that what
Oh, no.
makes it seem like it's got a good beat to it? Like
that's
Jack
just,
Henry.
It's just kind of a coincidence. No, see, it was a negotiation with my wife. I mean, I had to keep going and going until I got to places. They weren't exactly where I wanted to start.
Okay.
But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Where did you begin? I want to know. What was version
God.
one? Like what was your dream middle name for?
No,
one of
I
your
can tell
kids?
you.
Jeremy.
I can tell you, and forgive me if I've told this story before, but on the firstborn, when there's a lot of heat on these name decisions and your wife is pregnant and the hormones are making her crazy, she came in and she said, Jack Carter Ferriston, after Jimmy Carter.
Oh.
Right? And she loves Jimmy Carter and, you know, the guy's building houses into his 90s and 100s.
Lovable guy.
Lovable guy, right?
Yeah.
And I say there's one problem, the actor Jack Carter. She goes, I don't know who that is. I go, well, in the comedy world where I come from, he's a very famous guy who was a fucking asshole, really big asshole, Jack Carter. She goes, well, no one's going to know that. And I said, yeah, everybody I work with and me will know it. And she goes, well, that's the name, okay? And we were stuck with it, and we were getting close. Jack Carter Ferriston, right?
It's like an action story, though, like action movie.
It's like naming your kid Ben Vereen Farah. It's just, to me, it's that big and weird. So I don't
know. Have you ever heard of Jack Carter?
No.
I haven't either, but okay.
But I can understand if you have a bad association and this person has a bad reputation and you're just like, that's my kid's name, all your friends are going to think like, what are you doing?
Very famous guy, not of your generation
Bill Cosby,
or my
Klapman,
generation.
you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So shortly after, by some weird coincidence, I'm having dinner with Jerry and Larry David and George Shapiro, his manager, and some other comedy people. And I realized this is the dinner to get rid of this name.
Yeah.
Because Eric is very pregnant. The pregnancy is going to come up, and I can segue into the name. Why don't you tell everybody the name? And sure enough, an hour into this meal, that happens. And Larry goes, hey, yeah, so what are you going to name this thing? And Erica goes, Jack Carter Ferriston. He goes, what?
Oh, she's there.
She's there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She goes, what are you talking about? Jack Carter?
This is an actual episode of Curb.
And now George... She goes, yeah, that's right. She goes, you can't do that to him. And Larry points to me. And then George Shapiro, who's not with us anymore, Jerry's manager, goes, let me tell you why you can't name your kid Jack Carter Ferriston. And she goes, why? She goes, when I started my management business with Howard West, George Shapiro West, Andy Kaufman,
Major.
Jerry Seinfeld, big deal. It was founded on one single principle. We got together and we said, we're going to start our own thing. And there's one rule for clients.
No Jack Carter.
No Jack Carters. That's what level of asshole this guy was. And Larry goes, you can't name your kid that. And that was the end of it.
And it became Henry. Jack Henry. Jack Henry.
She was
Henry is
ruined
like
after
my familial name. I have my grandfather's name was Henry, my uncle's name was Henry, and my nephew's name is Henry. I managed to escape the Henrying.
Well, look, I skipped past the big story, which is everybody except for you two got COVID.
COVID in Pebble. Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Zuckerman is sick. He's not testing. I was down. We were all together at this Volvo thing, which I was super excited about. You said,
love the tennis courts down there.
I love that place.
The hotel is great.
It's
it
fantastic.
Was a great hotel.
Zach is like, do you usually come to these things?
Yeah, I was just like, what are you doing here?
I've never seen you at a press launch
what
before.
What went wrong?
I was so excited to be with you guys. I was excited to write, but I was not right in the head and was still testing negative. And I was just like, well, it must just be a little bit of a cold. And then a minute later, it was actually at dinner with you that I went, I feel like lightning just struck in my head.
Yeah, because we were going to record this podcast in your cabana after dinner.
That's right.
Zach was preparing by drinking Diet Coke.
I was just slamming Diet Coke because I usually get pretty tired. I was like, I got to keep my energy.
And then you were out.
But you got pretty quiet at dinner, which I should have taken as a sign. And then you were like, all right, I'm going to go to bed. It was 9. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to fight lions?
I didn't know where I was at that point. And
that's awesome.
And then it kind of went away. I had to do that drive though the next day. We did that. We were testing the XC90.
No,
EX90.
EX90.
All electric platform.
Yeah.
Which we can't describe the driving.
Correct.
Right?
No drive impressions.
There's an embargo until after Labor Day.
Yeah.
But fun. They had about 30 of them there.
They had more cars than I've possibly ever seen at a press launch.
Yeah,
before. They had a ton of them.
They own the place. And then the next morning they said, all right, well, you got to pair up with someone. And, I had talked to you. I was shy anyways. And I was like, should I come with you guys and just make a video? And then I was like, I don't want to be in the car with them too if I'm sick. I don't know what I'm sick with. And they said, no, you got to pair up with someone. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I looked at how about this? I looked at the car. It's cool. And I could just go back to my hotel room. And they're like, I don't know why I've got to drive 3 hours to a winery in 100-degree heat to get that this is cool and I like it and it charges up and fantastic. Do you know what I mean? It's really interesting. But I was in that car.
With somebody?
No.
Oh, they gave you a car by yourself?
They did.
Oh,
They
good.
also asked me not to mention that, but I think they'll understand why I'm talking about that.
When you say 8 hours later I tested positive for COVID, they'll go, phew.
Yes. And when we had dinner, we were outside and, I felt good about that.
Yeah. I got, when you told me you got tested positive, I go, fuck.
Yeah.
And I got, I had like a panic attack for 10 minutes and then
AC
and then the test came back.
It's on. It's just
it's
it
on.
needs more.
But we're drinking coffee. That's why. But anyway.
So what did you guys make your video? So
Yeah, we did.
You took it
Yes.
halfway out to that winery and stopped. And
We drove down Ortega Highway, which goes to the winery. And Ortega Highway is a lovely road, but it's the worst place on earth to make videos because it's so busy. But there's a road off of Ortega Highway that leads to nowhere. And it's like 4 or 5 miles of nothing, and that's a good place to film. So that's where we went. And George was there too. Moto Man George went over there.
You guys also said you podcasted on the way down. Like, how does that work? You were in the Rolls.
In the Bentley, yeah.
Oh, in the Bentley.
Yeah. We just use the same gear we use to make car videos. And we just roll it for an hour.
What does that mean? It's a couple of GoPros?
GoPro facing in, GoPro facing out, in case we catch something on the road we want to talk about.
Right.
So there's that. And then we've got our 2 lapel mics, and we do the podcast.
About? You just had a conversation.
Well, we did a wrap up on Monterey because we hadn't done a cruise show to talk about that. So it's like cars we've seen, what we did there, because we didn't stay in the same place in Monterey. We only hung out one morning, I think, for breakfast. So we did pretty different stuff. We talked about that. We talked about the Bentley a little bit.
Talked about the car I bought.
Well, no, we didn't. We went there, but
we went there to drop off the check.
We talked
about
it later.
Yeah.
You already dropped the check off.
Answer questions, all that stuff. Yeah.
The 50, the deposit.
You can't just bring it up without saying what it is.
I can, and I might.
Are you keeping that a secret?
I don't really give a shit.
Well,
I wanted to keep a secret.
It's not a secret.
No, I wanted to keep it a secret before I handed in the check.
Right.
You don't want to on the show that will go up next Tuesday on our show.
Oh, okay. So
it is gonna
fine.
be public knowledge.
So I bought a Myers-Manx
There you go.
with a 3-cylinder radial and aircraft engine.
Wow. And
So
you're
I'm
excited about that.
Super excited.
And that's going to be a West Side collector car storage promotional vehicle? Is
yes,
that the idea?
Absolutely. Promote the storage business.
Why?
Yes.
What suddenly made you decide to buy that?
We just saw it there, and back up. Zack and I went to Sonoma Raceway to test Lucid Sapphire, and a bunch of friends were up there, including Philip Seraphim, who owns Myers-Manx among many other things, right? And he was telling us at dinner the story of the Radial engine, which is basically that he was like browsing the internet. I'd love to see what his internet search history looks like. It's probably insane. But he's like looking around the internet late at night, maybe drunk, and he finds this company in Australia making Radial engines. And he like goes in their website and like clicks to just like buy one because
he wanted to buy 19, I think.
He tried to buy 20.
And then they called him and they're like, we're actually about to go bankrupt. So we can't make your engines. They really did this. This was the story he told us. And they were like, we're out of money. And he's like, well, you're not out of money anymore.
So he bought the company.
Wow.
For the price of 20 engines, he bought the entire company.
What is it about this engine that's got you all excited?
It's a 3-cylinder radial engine, like a Cessna engine. And it makes over 200 horsepower. And the company that developed it to fit a Beetle. Like that's what they were doing with it. They were putting it in Beetles. So it was a direct bolt-on for a Myers-Manx. Wow. And Myers-Manx is doing these classic Beetle, the classic ones with a Volkswagen style engine. They're doing this new electric one. And then Philip showed me this Radial thing. And then when I saw it in person, I went, that looks insane. And I sat in it and played with the steering wheel and the shifter. And I was like, I don't want to get out of this. I want this. This is rad.
Does it have one of those long medieval chrome trumpets that kind of come up from the back exhaust?
Oh, like the Baja Bug?
It could. I mean, it just sort of goes straight out
like
the back.
Like a Renaissance fair?
Did you see it at the Quail?
Yeah. Some of it. I didn't see the Radial. I saw the electric.
It's
like a centerpiece.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And like cars with plane engines, like what's not to like?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I just realized it's sort of flux capacitor shaped in the back.
It's vaguely
it's like it's 3 points. It's a little bit like that, but it's really cool.
But it sounds like somewhere between a V8 and an airplane.
What happens with all like the safety airbaggy crap does not apply just because it's a small number of these
things? No, it's a
made?
1966 Volkswagen. It's registered as.
So we don't have to worry about that stuff.
No smog, no safety equipment.
You just sit in it and
you just go vroom vroom.
Impact safety doesn't exist.
You'll drive it and you'll go. It'll be exactly the kind of thing that you will like.
Oh, you don't have to.
Yeah, this has fucking Ferriston written all over.
When I saw the electric last year, I thought I've got to get one of those.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Freeman on the podcast next week to talk.
He's the best. Yeah. We love Freeman Thomas.
And nothing makes you think more of car storage than a car that has no storage.
Yes.
WCCS.
But they're gonna do all kinds of like neat little stuff for me.
Like what?
Like the fabric for the interior, we're gonna do a cool bimini top, some like matched like luggage, not like luggage, but like a beach bag and a cooler, like just like silly stuff.
Have you thought about maybe doing a jump with it? Mm-hmm. Like a daredevil jump?
I've considered this.
I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah. I've considered it.
I
definitely want to go to Pismo. Like we have to road trip it to Pismo and see what that's about. Yeah, for sure. That's exciting.
I have to say I've never driven a dune buggy, and if like you're exactly right. If there was a spirit animal car since I was 9 years old, for me it's the dune buggy.
Volkswagen has an original one in their classic collection that I got to drive in, of all places, the Bonneville Salt Flats, which was real. When I went to go do that Jetta like top speed run thing, they just like had one.
Has it ever felt slower?
It felt so slow.
You're in a limitless area, driving the slowest thing in the world.
And I was like, is it broken? They're like, I swear on a road it feels quicker. And I was like, I hope so. Yeah.
Over 2 decades ago, Racedeck was invented a cost-effective, durable, and truly do-it-yourself modular floor system engineered for the garage. Racedeck's multi-patented design allows for easy DIY installation without all the hassles and mess of toxic epoxy coatings. Transforming your garage in just hours, not days. Choose from over 20 styles to create the coolest garage on your block. Installs in just hours, engineered so even you can do it. And 20 styles to transform that ugly garage into the coolest garage on the block, like Zuckerman at Baldwin Hills. Just got the cool.
You got the Racedeck?
You got the Racedeck modern floor that we didn't even know existed. Self-draining design allows for liquids to flow freely to drains and out the door. That's my hanger. Every cool garage starts from the ground up and starts with Racedeck. 33 patents with the product line, 20 styles to choose from. Racedeck manufactures 24/7 and ships most orders within 48 hours. Check them out. Did I mention the owner of Racedeck is a Porsche enthusiast named Jorgen? Hello, Jorgen. Shop at racedeck.com and use code SPIKE911 for an exclusive 15% off and free shipping. Racedeck.com. Code SPIKE911.
I think it's a requirement to be a Porsche enthusiast if your name is Jorgen. Sort of comes with the territory.
Or like a Volvo racer or something like that. Like
it's an ice racer.
Finland WRC stuff. Yeah.
Ice racer.
Yeah. They got a lot of Porsches, those guys. All right, let's talk more.
What else you got on that?
There's so much more to talk about.
You got a big old list. So much it's stapled together.
There's lots of stuff. I don't know where the show's going to go, but I wanted to find out just a little more. This is Zach's first time on the show.
Please, I'll step.
How did you guys meet?
Oh,
where did this little arrangement start?
Arrangement. The arrangement. Well, my wife. You see, she was bored, and
my parents knew I had no prospects on my own, so they arranged a marriage.
But you've been together for what? 8 years? 10 years?
15.
15.
Yeah, we moved here within months of each other, maybe the same month. I moved here in January of 2009, and
to do what?
Literally, my plan was like TV with cars. Like I just wanted to be in car media somehow. Mm-hmm. I was living in Colorado. There was no media presence there. There was no this was just before DSLRs, before GoPros. There was no you're an influencer anywhere you fly to press launches.
Right.
And I was watching Top Gear like everybody else, and I thought, all right, I'll go to LA where car things and media things happen. And I lived in Koreatown in a terrible studio apartment, but I found a job. I literally went on Craigslist looking.
Where did you feel more isolated, Koreatown or Colorado? Further away from your dream, Koreatown or Colorado?
No, Colorado for sure. Yeah, because Koreatown. I could go
I like Koreatown. That's not what I'm saying though. But when there's not a big car scene there.
No, there's not. But I still felt like I was in Los Angeles.
I'm close to this.
I was close to it, and I knew that was a thing. And I found a job on Craigslist of all places that was writer needed for supercar blog. Mm-hmm. And I met this dude at a coffee shop, and he was a legit person. He started a website called sub50.com that just talks about Mansories and new Lamborghinis and whatever. But he would pay me
Sub-50 being 0 to 60 times?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I have an awkward name for a website, but
It
wasn't a terrible website.
It was cool 20 years ago.
Yeah,
But now everything's sub-50.
Yeah.
Sub-10.
Yeah. Sub-2. That would be the new thing.
Yeah. That's right.
yeah.
Let's start sub-2. Okay.
So I was writing for that website, and then Matt started the Smoking Tire. I was following him on Facebook from Garage 419.
And what does that mean, the Smoking Tire? Was that a YouTube channel? You just hung up?
It was a YouTube channel and a website. Yeah, and it was like, remember that website, The Smoking Gun?
Yeah.
They used to publish like the tour riders and shit.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's where we get our Zuckerman news.
Yeah. So it's that, but it's the double entendre. It's
Right.
the that for cars.
Got it.
And also like, burnout.
So you had been paying attention to that, or he was looking for someone?
I'd been following him on Facebook when he was doing Garage 419.
Okay.
And
That was a terrible name.
I literally saw a post that was like, we're starting a website. We need a writer. Send us a sample. And so I sent him something I'd written for this Sub-50. And he's like, oh, this is legible and not terrible. You are a writer now.
It was funny.
At that point, did you have a lot of people that you were looking at?
No.
There were 30 people and you said, Zack's the guy. Or
I don't actually remember
just took an
saying that I was looking for anything. I feel like he sent me something
maybe
possibly unsolicited. And he was like, hey, I like what you're doing. I live in LA and I write something and here's things. And I was like, oh, this is funny. And you're in LA? Like, come hang out. And we like barbecued.
Yeah.
So you brought him on.
Yeah. But very quickly, we abandoned writing on the smokingtire.com because there was no money from it.
Right.
And so we, between Tom and me, like basically taught Zack how to make videos.
Well, you were doing videos from the jump.
Yeah. We were
And
doing videos
like,
first.
I was
Tom
like the PA.
who?
Morningstar, who I started the Smoking Tire with,
I see.
who now works with JF back in New York doing the Tangent Vector films. They just did the, what's it called?
Oh, the altitude car.
The Porsche that drove up the mountain.
Right.
They had the premiere. What's the fucking name of the movie?
It's called Mountain Climber.
It's the name of the car. It's
Elsa.
Elsa or something like that. Ella. God damn it. Sorry, JF.
I drove it.
Yeah.
I drove the car.
Anyway, they made that movie and other movies.
I see. Mm-hmm. And now here you guys are together.
We are 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
So how does it work?
Sorry?
Like, how does it work? Like, there have been different times where you said, you know what? I'm not going to do those one-hitter drives anymore. I'm going to let Zack do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I'm not going to do this. Zack's going to take over. I don't want to do it. But now it seems like you're doing more of it, or...
No, like originally I was the on-camera, and he was the production and camera guy.
But now we see Zack a lot.
Right. But when we started the podcast, he was like a main character on the podcast.
Right.
Which led to putting him on some videos, which led to him being good at making videos. And then, but it's hard to introduce a new person to an audience.
Right.
That takes like literally years.
Yeah. That was an awkward 2 years.
Yeah. Where like the audience is like real shitty about it. And they're like,
oh, totally.
I'm here for this. And now you're doing this?
Yeah.
Ooh, and they would lose their mind, ignoring the fact that he was actually like quite good.
Your audience too. I mean, I remember doing your show back there.
Yeah.
And they would just hate on me nonstop.
Your audience, you should have seen the fucking comments in the post from Pebble. There's people that are like so offended by my presence on your program.
That's good. Yeah.
But so then we just gradually ended up sort of sharing more of the work, and I always wanted, because the channel doesn't have my name on it. It's the Smoking Tire. It's not Matt Farah or whatever. So I wanted him to have opportunities to use the channel to make videos that he could then earn money on above and beyond whatever I was doing.
Are you guys still making money on YouTube? Like, what's the state of YouTube? I don't ask you, but
yes, but it's shitty.
Is it?
Yeah.
But why?
Oh, this is a long conversation.
Well, then summarize.
Algorithmic changes that favor certain types of content, most of which we don't want to do or can't do.
Like
10 things I hate about the Volvo EX90. Like stuff like that. That's the low-hanging fruit. And then there's the other thing is like Whistling Diesel is going to destroy a Cybertruck, which is fun to watch, but we can't afford that. You know?
Right.
Yeah. There's big money stunts. There's talking shit about stuff. There's talking a lot about money. Those things do really well on YouTube. And then there's And YouTube's algorithms favor new creators over old creators. Yeah. Like once you're locked in, once YouTube is your career, they know they've got you. You know, they know it'll take a lot. They can squeeze you pretty tight before you quit. Whereas if you're a new creator, they want to give you that big hit of views and subscribers and money. And now, unlike before, YouTube, on any given video we do, 80 to 90% of our traffic comes from youtube.com or the what's up next tab at the end of a video, as opposed to back in the day, it would come from subscribers.
Yeah.
So all of it now is a game to get YouTube to put you on your homepage. And everyone's homepage is different, right? Your homepage, if you go to youtube.com and I go to youtube.com, well, it might be similar, but Joe Blow in Nebraska, their youtube.com and my youtube.com might look completely different. Right? It's based on your viewership history and what they think you'll like. That's what they feed you.
Right.
But it's also filtered through what they want you to see.
Yeah.
And so it's all about getting on that homepage.
Yeah. Because now when I go to youtube.com, there's like sponsored videos at the top, like ads and bullshit. And then there's 4 videos that are kind of like your primary recommendations, not from subscriptions. And I would say every time I go there, one of those 4 is from a creator that has 400 views on a video. It'll be like, yesterday it was like 996 track drive.
Yeah.
And it's just, all right, someone who put up a video of them driving on a track, not a well-produced thing. It was like an over-the-shoulder thing. But YouTube, to your point, Matt, is going, here's a new content creator. Let's give them a shot and put them in front of car people.
So if we can juice their viewership, we can sell ads for
and we
more
can
money.
get them hooked on making videos and then making it a career.
But then they can make money too, right?
Yeah. They'll make
the
money.
company can make money.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because with a show, with a series, the longer it gets, the older it gets, the more expensive it gets.
Yeah.
So they figure out now a way here, let us make that money the longer you get, the older
YouTube is one of Google's most profitable properties. Like of their AI and their ad serving is the biggest one, but YouTube is incredibly profitable.
And the other big change that makes it kind of suck is that for 10 years, you would use your social media to promote what you were doing on YouTube.
Right.
Pretty standard. Now, the social media companies have gotten wise to this. And what they want is for you to create content that keeps people on that social media platform, not promoting something on YouTube. So they have crawlers that will find keywords in your posts that seem to direct people to a podcast or a video or whatever, and they'll deprioritize those posts instead of content that is clearly native to the platform that keeps you on that platform for longer. Mm-hmm. So that one actually really sucks. That one actively makes content worse because now instead of making a piece of content that I think my audience will like and telling them about it so they go watch it, now it's about making content that a piece of software shoves in front of people that haven't asked for that content. It sort of sucks. Yeah. And like, it's not like we take no responsibility for this. Like we know things we could, like we made a video that's like 10 reasons the Cybertruck sucks and it did like 6x our normal traffic. So a good business person would go, well, we're going to make a whole bunch of videos that are like 10 reasons this sucks, 10 reasons this sucks. And we could multiply our numbers by an enormous factor.
How hard was it to come up with those reasons for you?
It was so... Actually, I didn't want to make the video. No, like...
You must have spent weeks just formulating, going, I've got to find something. I've got two.
Brooding.
But you know what we did do is we wrote them down, but we also talked to the person who owned the truck.
Yeah.
And I said, because it was an individual's truck, and I said, do any of these not make total sense? Do you have an argument for any of these?
Right.
And he was like, nope.
Yeah.
Those are all legit.
Mm-hmm. They're legit.
So I didn't want to make the video. But then when we did and I saw the money.
It's one of the most interesting things to watch age. that car.
Oh, it's aged. It's already aging so badly.
It started new, aging badly. Exactly right. It started brand new. You look at it and go, this doesn't fit in our world.
Yeah.
It's not for here. We were looking at them yesterday, my son and I, and there's a Rivian right next to it. And you go, well, there's that Rivian SUV. It looks right. It's starting to work in society now. It's moving. It's beautiful green. It looks kind of like a car, but it's evolved a little bit. And right next to it is a trash can dumpster that with weird wheels and a weird guy driving it.
Did I tell you about the Airstream?
No.
Going up to Pebble, I saw a Cybertruck towing an Airstream.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so visually weird.
Disconcerting.
Yeah, because the Airstream is this shape that is so good.
Yeah.
They haven't changed it for 70 years.
Right.
And it's still incredibly desirable, valuable.
Yep.
Airstreams hold their value on the secondhand market better than any
design,
other.
Emotional.
Being towed by a Cybertruck, which is not that.
Yes.
And it looked fucked up.
It looks bad.
Really, really weird. And even the steel on the Cybertruck was so dull compared to the Airstream. It was wild.
It's like a bad episode of Battlestar Galactica or something. It's just not right.
Yeah.
I like the way it drives. I enjoyed my time in it, but they need to go. I don't want to look at them anymore.
Well, and driving them is not super unique. I mean, if you put that same steering system on a Model S, great.
Be better.
Do that.
Yeah.
Be a lot better.
No, I'm just saying once I got inside and I forgot the way it looked, I was enjoying myself and I enjoyed the way it handled. It was good. It was a nice experience. But then I had to get out and look at it.
Right.
And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And I'm trying not to get obsessed with how much I don't like the design because it could ruin my day every day.
Who were we just talking to that was like, why do I take so much joy in watching Cybertruck fails videos?
I don't know.
It was somebody.
Yeah, we're rooting against him because it's the idiot on the reality show syndrome. We just like watch. It's Schadenfreude. We like watching it, but disappointing.
Should we talk about the thing you drove up in?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to go through. We will.
Okay.
I wanted to just go through some of the more insane cars because I feel like we touched on them a little bit on stage at Monterey, but we didn't really get into some of the crazy shit going on. Like I was really blown away by Pebble Beach and Monterey Car Week and all of the resto mod multi-million-dollar fast things that I had never heard of. Right. The Kalmar 9x9. What is that?
Oh, the 959 based on a 992 thing? Was that?
It's another resto-modded Porsche deal.
Right.
Wait, what is it?
I think it's
the Kalmar. These were the most.
I think you've stumped me. Zach, hang on. Can
I
you
saw
get a
it there.
picture of it?
Here, throw this up.
Is it like a singer-ish thing?
Yes.
It is, okay.
No, so they took a 992 and they made the rear end look like a 959. So that wing that connects all the way from one side to the other.
Oh, okay.
But again, this goes into this back forwards thing that we were talking about with this Bronco that I'm driving today.
So this is also a polarizing thing I saw people talking about on the internet. And
let's see what it looks like.
The proportions are what they are.
Oh, yeah.
400 and 900 horsepower, depending on what you get. I thought the execution, like I didn't go up, look at it close. I was like 10 feet away. I thought the execution was pretty good. I didn't think it looked, a lot of people online were going, this looks like fucking garbage. Well, I think the 959 looks a little bit awkward. I think it's a sort of a strange shape, very aerodynamic.
It's a very strange thing.
So I don't think this looks that nuts. It's just, it's weird to make a new Porsche look like an old one, but it's
that's what I'm driving. That's what I'm driving today. That's the Resto Vintage, or Max. You're saying Matt backdating it, but it's the idea of it is really weird. You're taking new things and making them look old, but in places it's like, do I want it to like the latches to really feel that old when they don't work as well as the new?
Well, and the hard points dictate your proportions. But I mean, like dash to axle, all these things. And so if that is not equal or similar to the original car, then you get out and have that awkward face where you're like, well, this doesn't look quite like the thing I like. It doesn't just look like a bigger version of the old thing.
It just seems like Pebble Monterey was just this. These new companies with multi-million-dollar things, and that was where all the excitement continues to be.
Well, your sort of production supercars, right? Whether it's a 296 or a Huracan or a McLaren, right? The numbers on those, the production numbers are like through the roof, right? There's more supercars than there's ever been, right? And so how do you separate yourself from that? The OEMs are going with these 1,000 horsepower hybrids or crazy, the Lotus Avaya 2,000 horsepower EVs and whatever. But there is a market for analog, lightweight driving experiences that sort of throw back to the end of an era of where you could still get a manual transmission. So that's where you get like this Tuttle GT1 thing, which I think was a very successful design. It was beautiful.
So, they have a moment, right?
Yeah.
They pop like Sydney Sweeney in her first big acting role.
Right.
Like they are on the map because of one photograph of this LAX palette. And everybody's speculating, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be this car. And it's a company most people, including myself, it's just not even on our radar.
Well, they're moving fast. Like, I mean, they have the 911K, which kind of broke the internet and I'd say amid of a sea of 911 resto mods that are expensive, they still rose above kind of the
They still hadn't popped in a mainstream way.
Yeah.
You guys all
he's
knew
been
who
building
they were.
they've been building race cars for 30 years.
But here they are now. They're making 22 of these things.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what they're going to cost?
Yeah.
What?
In dollars, about $2.4.
And they're already sold?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Mid-engine. There's two power packs. There's a naturally aspirated motor, 500 horsepower.
That's
and then
again.
And then a 600 horsepower. Why?
With a turbo.
With a turbo.
I'd rather have an NA motor. 500 is enough. The car's going to be light.
Yeah.
The original
sound
The
response,
GT1s were turbo.
Yeah.
They were turbos,
They were
right?
turbo. And
They
you
were
could
also
also get a
race
PDK
cars.
or a manual. Yeah.
Well, that manual turbo would be pretty great.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rowdy. A friend of mine is getting one and is doing the 600
close?
horsepower manual.
Who is this friend? How close?
So
It's a guy.
you could probably guess, but it's
Is it going to be here?
Yeah.
This car?
yeah. In
love to have a look.
Los Angeles. I mean, it's going to take, 2 years, but yeah.
It's stunning. That thing is gorgeous.
The execution for the first one, for the development prototype, it looked like you could drive it home today. It was rad.
The only thing that could pop that bubble is if Porsche makes a GT1 now, and then it'll kind of look weird.
Well,
But
when you
until
saw it
that
on the
happens,
palette, it looked like it could have been a Porsche, didn't it? Look
We all thought.
it was a legit.
we all thought.
But Richard Tuttle has very good taste. He knows when to stop. You know what I mean? Like that 911K, he knew where to really go hard and also kind of where to exercise some restraint. It doesn't immediately look different from just an old 911.
No, but it weighs nothing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
It's
it's
fast as
amazing.
shit.
Yeah.
No, it's
Somebody
kind of
just whispered in my ear over Instagram, there's not going to be a GT2 RS. There's going to be a GT2.
Oh, not
This is a completely unreliable source from someone I don't know, but they said, trust me,
okay.
there's no RS after the GT. It's going to be a GT2.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. Why would they do that? I mean, it makes sense.
Well, there's
There was a
been
GT2.
precedent before.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think it
But
makes
if it's like the thing that I've seen testing in Europe right now, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's got a cool sound.
I feel like they would do an RS 2 years later. They would just say they're not going to do it. They sell all the GT2s. And then 2 years later, they go, actually,
Have you seen the vehicle that's testing? It's on my Instagram right now. You can. It's in my story. Here, just hit my story.
Here's
and you'll see
why
it.
I could believe that there won't be an RS, because if I had to guess, my guess would be that this is a guess based on fucking nothing. The turbo 992.2 turbo will be a manual transmission car, sort of like the Sport Classic. The Turbo S will be a T hybrid, which will pair the GTS's hybrid system with the engine from the turbo. And I think the GT2 will be a rear drive version of that turbo hybrid. And I don't think they're going to make RS cars hybrids. That's why I think that.
That's a good
So
theory.
because they'd have to remove that system.
Because RS is all about lightweight,
Right,
and
of
I think
course.
that I think they're probably going to keep, and you don't need an all-wheel drive system to be the hybrid. There's the GTS hybrid has rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. It's in the gearbox, so it doesn't matter.
So it becomes another Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Plain old
Yeah,
Widowmaker.
it'll be a nasty motherfucker.
Nasty bit of
yeah,
business.
yeah. I mean, if they have a rear-wheel drive Turbo S T hybrid,
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be a monster.
And it might bring Sport Classic numbers down.
Well, this is what Porsche
cars are so valuable right now.
I mean, that's what Porsche does, right? They did the R, and then they did the GT3 Touring, you know, right after.
Right.
So by that model, they do Sport Classic, and then they do a manual production turbo that's all-wheel drive.
But they're also so good at extracting money and making a special edition. Like they find tiny ways to do that. They find marketing ways to do that. So if they have a GT2, like I like your theory. It makes a lot of sense, but I also won't be surprised if they go, actually, why not make the king of the hill of the king of the hill? Because, you know, they're pretty good at doing that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Bridgestone tires. Our partner, the official tire partner of Spike's Car Radio. If you've got a Tesla and you don't like the sound it makes to those tires, you need Quad Track Pros like Eric Ferriston has on our Tesla Model Y, which we love. There's also the Ultrac Pro, which Zuckerman is putting on one of his cars. The Grip Classic, which I have on my Series 2A, which is a beautiful
Old-looking tire.
Beautiful wheel and tire. I love that thing. Quieted that thing down. The Pinza AT. Bridgestone Tires has been making tires for an awful long time, and no matter what you drive, there's a tire for you.
We put them on our Mach-E, our Ford Mach-E.
You did?
They sent us some. They were so good in the wet. We put them on right before winter, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
Remember how much it rained last winter?
I do.
We drove that thing in so much water. Those tires were so good.
I've got the Hypertracks on my car.
You've got the Hypertrack. Look at this. Bridgestone.
Also good in the wet.
Wally Ferriston, the cue card guy from Saturday Night Live, is getting a set of Bridgestone for his Audi.
Nice.
S5, I believe, is what he drives. And we're still waiting. I think Bill Miller from the Malibu Kitchen in Malibu. Hello, Bill. Saying hello to you all the way out in Malibu. He just got a new Range Rover.
Oh, he got that one?
Yes, and has put in a request for new Bridgestone.
Oh, so now he can come see us because he was like, my car won't make it.
He got a mechanic special.
Okay.
And it's unbelievable what he paid for that car, but it was super cheap. It's really nice. Really nice new Range Rover.
All right.
So there you go. If you want Bridgestone tires, go to Bridgestone.com and find the local dealer near you. And you'll be happy. Bridgestone.
Okay.
VRED. Stein. See if they should have changed their name too, like Ferristine, Bredestein,
Bredesmith.
Yeah, they
Should have been Donovan Tire.
How about Royal Tires? We could have called ourselves Royal Tires. All right, there's more. I just want to go tick down some of these cars and get your quick opinion about them. There were several Ferrari Purosangues, the new SUV that I saw out there. To me, that car looks completely wrong.
It looks a little weird.
It looks weird, right? Yeah. Like a swollen cartoon slipper of some kind.
Did you not get one as a press car yet?
No.
Okay. They're in LA. We just got one.
Will I like it? I didn't like the way it looked in it. You know, it's that to me that it's a fucking Ferrari. Yeah. It should look beautiful as I approach it, and
it has one great angle. The rear 3/4 is a great angle.
It looks too short.
I think front 3/4 is okay.
The front,
I like the fenders and stuff, but when you move around it, it's a little odd.
Honestly,
the size is crazy.
I didn't know what it was. I was like, "What the hell is that? That must be a Mitsubishi of some kind coming back."
That's not what they're going for. I assure you. It's pretty good. It drives like an 812 with 1,500 extra pounds on it.
Right, but you know, that luxury SUV market, when you see these things, you imagine yourself rolling up to the valet line or picking up your kids at school or going, in these moments where you want to look. This doesn't do it. It's kind of clowny.
You don't think just having the badge alone gives people that feeling?
No, no, okay. I don't.
It's funny because it's sort of what it does address things that people like us have complained about with other exotic SUVs. Like the Urus is really very Audi. You know what I mean? But
it's outstanding. It's beautiful.
It drives great. I wouldn't say it's beautiful.
I love the way that thing looks.
All right.
I love the way
There we go.
But proportionally, it looks right. Whether you like it or not, still proportionally, it looks okay.
I can't unsee the Audi Volkswagen-ness.
Yeah, there's a little of that in there.
If you've driven an RSQ8, if you do, you really won't be able to unsee it.
The interior is extremely similar.
But it's not as fast. I don't like it as much.
It's close.
It's a little more
really
cloaked and low key.
Right. But people like Zach and myself, our biggest gripe with the Lamborghini Urus is that it uses this sort of corporate 4-liter twin turbo engine that a lot of them do. And it's like, well, why didn't you put the Aventador V12 in there? Why didn't you put the crazy motor in there? And so Ferrari, you know, to their credit, they built an SUV and put the crazy motor in it. They don't have the 296's twin turbo V6. They have the full on, you know, V12, full power.
Which sounds great and is fast and makes power. But the problem with it, it's not a problem, but the difference between that and every other high-performance luxury SUV is that your torque is made way up high. And your power is made way up high. So you have to be willing to push your SUV to 7,000 RPM before it really starts feeling fast. Whereas something like Urus, RSQ8, DBX 707, they're going to start feeling quick at 2,000 RPM when the turbos kick in. And that is, for us, even for us who were like, we're down to rev the thing out, you still go, wow, you do have to wait quite a bit.
It's almost like the people building cars tried it and went, you know, I don't think this works.
And it's like we paint ourselves in our own corner. We're like, oh, put the real engine in. And they do and go, oh, actually, it's not good for everything.
It's you could either say that it's better because it's worse, or it's worse because it's better.
I'm going to put it in the Cybertruck category. I bet it drives great, but I don't want to look at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to be inside. It's well designed and comfortable.
As long as you don't have to change any controls.
As long as you don't have to change anything.
As long as you don't have to change the temperature, your seat position, the maps,
UI
the radio.
is heinous.
It's fine.
It's so awful. Ferrari, like, it's one thing if you're driving something as special as a 296 Assetto Fiorano. I'll put up with stupid controls for a car that drives like that and looks like that. But in an everyday car, I cannot deal with something that's that bad to use. Yeah.
J.D. Power study recently found that drivers are becoming overwhelmed with in-car tech systems, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
Completely overwhelmed. The results of this poll, the tech entities, suggest that could be the case. The study, while focuses on user experience with advanced vehicle technologies as they come to market, finds that while owners offer praise for some features, others are found to be lackluster.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Yeah.
It's one of my biggest complaints about car. And let me say something nice about Tesla Model Ys. Other Teslas, there's nothing there. You don't have the information you want.
I mean, look, Tesla, for all of their flaws, which are many, their UI is very simple and easy and straightforward.
Yeah, and there's
to use.
no extra crap like making you think about.
But to circle it back to Pebble and the Quail and all that stuff, what we're starting to see at the very high end is the removal of tech. We're seeing manual transmissions. We're seeing analog gauges that in some cases even have fucking tourbillons and watch parts in them. We're seeing levers and very satisfying aircraft grade switches. I mean, we went out in the T50. There is a small screen so that you can make some version of
Speedo.
but it's not like there's a knob and a lever for everything else.
Now, do you think, is that because, like, just as we've moved through time, technology was usually more expensive, more rare. People with means got to buy the new stuff. And now technology, screens and stuff is so ubiquitous. They go, well, I want the rare thing. The rare thing happens to be going backwards.
It makes it timeless.
Oh, that's
Not
true.
having a screen makes it timeless.
You've seen the inside of a new, like a newish i3 with those screens on it. They look so old, even though the car is great. And the exterior of the car, I think, still looks very modern, but the interior looks dated.
Or look at a BMW. Oh, you get like your car.
Sure.
Your car had a pretty big. Your M3 had, or Zuckerman's M5. Had state of the art shit in 03, and it looks ridiculous now.
Let's fast forward to what I'm driving today.
Yeah, it's kind of funky.
New vintage modern Bronco.
What is that the name of the company? Vintage Modern? That's
I think that's their incorporated name.
Okay.
I think they call themselves Vintage.
Okay.
I think there's a long disclaimer about what they can call this vehicle, not unlike every other.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what it was. They dropped it off in the driveway, and I thought it was one of these old Broncos made to look new, kind of like New Legend Scout does. They take an old Scout, they make it look perfect for $300,000 or $400,000, and there you go, you got something cool. And I started driving, and I went, this is a new car. And sure enough, this is a Resto Vintaged. You call them backdating.
Yeah.
I think Resto Vintage is a more accurate way to describe this. So what they do is they start with a regular Bronco chassis. They then make new panels that are vintage-looking panels.
Yeah, but fit on the modern car's
fit on the modern car.
Yeah.
The car comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. You can go on and configure all of these beautiful colors. I don't know the name of this green that I'm driving, but it's an Auratium green.
Yeah.
The interior is absolutely gorgeous, and you get a modern driving Bronco experience with a vintage look and a unique look. Again, it's like another way to kind of look at this stuff, right?
What's funny is it's not really resto because there's no restoration there.
Yeah.
It's just mod.
That's why I think that's why I like backdate.
Yeah. You're trying to set it back in terms of appearance.
Well, they said they engineer their own steel body panels inspired by the original Bronco, tooled and stamped to the specs of the buyer to fit on the modern Bronco chassis.
Right.
So they're not, so they're building it from a chassis, not a...
Well, I'm sure that Ford isn't selling them bare chassis. They're probably buying Broncos and taking them apart.
Take the body panels off. Because as I have learned when I went to the Bronco launch, taking the body panels off is real easy.
Why can't you buy chassis?
I don't think Ford will sell them to you. I think as an OEM, they probably can't. There's probably laws against that. Selling incomplete cars.
Porsche used to sell bodies and white to roof.
They don't anymore.
Country, but
I mean, they don't anymore.
That's true. Why did they stop doing that?
For this reason.
Oh. I thought they did it because they're like, nobody else gets to modify our shit.
Maybe that's why too. But
I think so. When I rode up, I saw you parking this thing, and from the back, I thought it was a Scout because the taillights and it was also the width.
Right.
The width of that car of the car you pull up in is wider than an old Bronco. For
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Yeah.
And Scouts look a little bit wider. But then as soon as I went around the front, I was like, this just looks odd, and it's because the proportions and the dash to axle ratio looks weird, and just like
it's built on the two-door.
Yeah, I just thought it looked odd, and then the roof is very short, whereas the old Bronco has a big greenhouse proportionally.
Right.
So I get what they're going for, but I think, the old Bronco is known to be a shitty thing to drive and own, and it rusts. But
it's really hard to get it right when.
That's why the good ones are $400,000.
But even so. Even when you
so,
drive
they
some of
still
those,
don't get
they
them
start
right.
to squeak and things don't work right.
But would you say it's one of the best looking vintage, 4x4s? I think they're stunning, and that's why we like them.
Bronco mania is happening everywhere. I'm part of it. I'm caught up in it. I was talking to our friend from New York. He's like, everybody in Long Island is driving Broncos right now. Whenever I drive these things around West LA, people go crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're like Wranglers that don't drive like garbage.
No, they project fun to people. Yeah. And this one is no different. So, I drive it up to the people I play tennis with. None of them really know anything about cars. Some of them do. Seth, you know. The rest of them don't. And they go, what is this? And they're falling in love with this thing.
Yeah, it's a good-looking car.
But this is, or the
regular.
No, I'm talking this. They're freaking out over this.
I don't think someone who really likes cars is going to like this one. You remember when they were doing a couple of years ago? Everyone was doing a Corvette C2 on like a C7 chassis, and the proportions weren't quite right. It's that it at a quick glance, or if you don't know what a Bronco is supposed to look like. Yeah, it looks like a vintage Bronco. But if you know cars, you're not fooling me. Something about it just looks off and weird.
Well, also, the new Bronco is modeled and inspired by the old one. And I think Ford did a really good execution of it. Yeah. So this is like trying to improve on something I think was done really well. And I think it goes the other direction.
Well, that's the question. This Bronco here is $300,000. They start at $250,000. And devil's advocate here. Everywhere I go, I'm a star in it. And again, it's not the car guys.
They love to record their conversations after Spike leaves.
But most people are not. No, they genuinely love it. But they don't understand what it is.
Right, they don't. Yeah. So
and there's something to be said for that. Would I pay what, $150,000, $200,000 more? I don't think they're quite there yet. I played you the exhaust note that's going on there. The motor's a 2.7 liter twin turbo V6, and it's got the Roush performance package.
Doesn't sound like anything.
Doesn't sound like anything. And that's a problem for something that's going to cost $300,000.
But even if you made it louder, it wouldn't sound good.
You would need a Coyote to be
you would need
more
a
like the old one.
Yeah.
Do you think
wait, hold on. Let's back up to that. What would you do? Because right now it is loud enough and it doesn't sound right. A Coyote
would be a V8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Mustang
put a different
V8.
motor in it.
You need a Mustang V8. But now you're at a whole. Now you're talking about issues with smog and whatever.
But I think you need it. Because everything else that's in this price range, $300,000, has a sound.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's better than a lot of those, vintage cars that have been modernized is the front the wheels aren't all over the road on Sunset Boulevard. It handles, right? It's got a great suspension on it. It's got the Fox Factory Race Series coilover suspension. And you can actually drive it. And I'm always going between Brentwood and the Palisades on those turns. I'm on the road. I'm not worried about it like I am with some of the other older cars that are.
Do you think if you went and bought an $80,000 new Bronco like Sasquatch, and then you gave someone $100,000 to redo the whole interior, because the interior on this looks really nice. It's all like nice leather, and they did leather wrapped roll bar. Do you think you Spike could have that interior customized to a degree that it would make a new Bronco feel special and interesting, but it would still be half the price of this?
Well, I've got the limited special edition.
Okay.
That's my daily driver, which feels special. All in.
Okay.
Off the lot.
Right.
And the only thing I would do is, put on a performance package like this. But now, if it's going to sound like that, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
You can't make that V6 sound good. There isn't even really.
There's no way to do it, right?
No,
I like the extra speed.
It's not a good sounding engine.
But it's not that,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
I do. I do. The one thing that is really the point against for me for this car, and I'm not trying to be a dick about it, is that it says that if the name of the company that they're operating is Vintage, it literally says Vintage in 4 places on the car on the outside. And I think to have a new car that's made to look old and literally says the word vintage on the side of it is just weird. I think they're trying to sell it, but it's not.
I bet it would trick a lot of people that walk on Sunset on the weekend.
Probably.
Like tourists, they probably go, "Oh, is this an old thing?" And you go, "No," and they go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, the flip side of this is it's very popular.
That's fine.
People love it. Everywhere I go, people love it.
So are Cybertruck.
They're selling lots of these things, and I think there's a segment of the Bronco buyers that like this idea, that don't want it loud, that want something easy that looks retro, and it's kind of an interesting idea.
Look, people bought those Corvettes too. I don't know, not for me, but okay.
You know what else you can buy? Bluechew. Yeah. Bluechew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra. I'm looking at you, Zach.
I just took one. And the table is rising.
But at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their hot licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, it is true, Zach. I've done this.
You call them up, do they FaceTime?
No, you get on a Zoom with them.
They've hired phone sex providers.
They said, "You want to go through the thing?" And I go, yeah, I want to do it.
Every week.
And this hot girl in a lab coat came on, and I went, wow, this is really funny.
That is sales.
The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Bluechew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com, and we have a special deal for the SCR listeners. Try Bluechew free when you use our promo code SPIKE911 at checkout and just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code SPIKE911 to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Bluechew for helping Matt Farah with his boner.
It's helped our marriage, man.
It has. Our arrangement.
Our arranged marriage.
What else have we left out here, gentlemen? What else have we gotten to?
I don't know. Did you have other things from Pebble that we didn't cover?
Yeah.
Other supercars?
Yeah. We'll cover that. Quickly, the Rimac Navara R. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Did you guys check it out?
Yeah, it's a more hardcore version of the regular Navara, which I've driven. Let me tell you, that car does not need to go faster.
Right.
But good for them. They're doing it anyway.
Any updates to the Mission X, the Porsche all-electric? Are they going to make that?
Well, that's going to be the electric Cayman. I mean, really.
What do you mean?
Isn't the Mission X like the electric Cayman concept?
No, the $1 million electric
I don't know.
type car they were going to make.
Yeah, I don't know if... I think there is an incredibly limited market for 7-figure electric cars, which Rimac is learning the hard way.
Mm-hmm. And Porsche's a big investor in Rimac, so they're probably also watching that.
Yeah. I think the public's appetite for electric cars has a hard ceiling at around $200,000. Even the Sapphire, which is an unbelievable performance value by comparison, they're not moving a lot of those. Right. All electric cars are so fast that the absolute fastest ones that you can buy from a mainstream manufacturer like Tesla or Porsche or Lucid they're so fast that nobody gives a shit about going for the $1 million crazy one. Because when you're not doing the crazy thing, they're kind of boring.
But they look cool.
I mean, sure,
remember the last time we had this conversation was the 918 coming out.
Yeah.
That's a very good looking car. I think it
But
will
when it
age
came
better.
out, Porsche people were not excited about it. They're like, I don't want a hybrid. Why would I want a hybrid?
Yeah.
The taste hadn't changed yet. It's
true.
They were having trouble selling them. They were calling. They were calling you up. Will you please buy one? I'm not going to pay $1 million for that. Right
it happens to have a good engine.
Here we are again, though, with this new technology, and people are saying the same thing. There's not real excitement around it, but maybe that's about to change.
Maybe.
What's that little fast little race car we keep seeing on Instagram?
The
McMurtry.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's real crazy.
Amazing.
That's real
0 to
crazy.
60 in no seconds.
Yeah.
It's that fast, and it's zipping around, right?
Yeah.
That eventually, I think, becomes desirable. People will eventually want that.
Well, I think that's desirable because it's unique, and that's the fan. If you remove the fan from it, then all you have is an EV go-kart that looks like the Batmobile if it hasn't taken a Bluechew. But the fan gives it the downforce, which sets the records, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the Navara and cars like that, like you said, are really up against a lot of competition that costs 1/10 the price. I mean, if you get a Sapphire or a Model S that you put good brakes on or something, you're getting so close to the speed of that car. Like, you won't set the record and beat it, but you're going to scare the shit out of yourself, and it's going to be plenty fast. But if you can spend $1 million, you go, well, do I want something that most of the time sounds and feels like my Tesla Model S, or do I want to get any of these supercars or 911Ks or Singers? Like, you can get so many different experiences for your money that don't feel like your daily driver.
The people that I know who spend that kind of scratch on a car, they want permanence. They don't want a cell phone that's going to be outdated or whatever.
I mean, what makes you buy a Pagani?
It's like
knowing
art.
the handwork.
Right. Yeah, it's art.
This Porsche is a beautiful piece of art. It looks lovely from the outside.
But it doesn't have a sound. It's not exciting at low speeds in the way that...
make a little sound.
It will not make the sound that people want it to make.
Wait, I had a story about that. That little Hyundai we were all driving. What is it? The Ioniq 5 N?
Yeah. Did you drive one eventually?
I did.
Did you like it?
Super fun.
Yeah. Did you put it in like manual mode and use the fake gears and stuff?
And I thought it was very useful.
It's pretty cool, right?
Porsche development driver Lars Kern said the company was looking at that, but will never do anything like that. They're not interested in gear shifting in their cars.
I think they're missing out.
They think it's dumb.
I think they will one day.
I think they're missing out.
We looked at it, but I don't see the point of using it to make it feel like a combustion engine because it's not, so we don't. We don't want to fake the combustion engine because we still produce combustion engines. So we don't see the point. He said twice. We don't see the point of doing it. And I
know who you don't want to ask about that? A fucking German racing driver. There is nobody with less whimsy in their life than a German racing driver.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Here's why you do want to do it. It's fun, and it also reminds you of driving. It's a perfect little bridge
Especially if
to
you're
driving.
Porsche. If you're fucking Porsche, think of the ability to make money doing this.
Yes.
You could have a downloadable pack where you could have a monthly subscription or a one-time purchase where your electric Cayman can have the sound and the power curve and the gearing of a 73 RS today, a 917K tomorrow, a 993 Turbo S the next day, a GT3 4-liter.
Yeah.
You have the deepest fucking back catalog to work from. You have all those cars. You could create the torque curves. You can create all of it. And you could sell it for a huge amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah. And in this age where everybody's using AI, and like you guys, you have AI girlfriends, you don't mind having these fake things. You get used to them, and it's fun. And it's, again.
I turn the sound off more quickly than I expected in the canyons, but what I think Porsche's missing is that the gears help you drive the car better.
Yeah.
They help you downshift.
Yeah.
They help slow it down so you're not on the brakes as much. Like it's just helpful for gauging turns.
Did you turn it on when someone was next to you at a light and you could tell they wanted to light it up? I did. Yeah, and it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun to play with.
It made me smile. I mean, how rare
sure.
is that to have something that makes you smile?
I'm picking one up at JFK Airport tomorrow for Road and Track's Performance EV of the Year. So,
There's a lot of that of the year stuff. Johnny Lieberman's working on an of the year.
Yeah, I'm doing one of the year this week and then one of the year in 2 weeks.
Which ones?
Performance EV of the year is this week in New York, and then
Are they going to make you pick the cheapest, most affordable one?
No. There we have a Taycan GT. We've got a Lucid Sapphire. That's just the one I'm picking up at. I'm picking up at the airport.
The readers are just going to be pissed if you
Yeah.
pick the most expensive thing. No, they're not. They like cool cars. They'll be cool with it.
There's an expensive category and then an affordable category.
Yeah.
So it's split. But
I don't know if
there's
you
good ones.
If Zuckerman were here, I'd be running this story by him, but I'm going to run it by you before we go. I don't know if you caught the latest RFK story. Let me just.
I don't know, but they're all good.
They're all good, right? Okay. It starts
Is this
with
the one about Ben Affleck banging his daughter? Because that's great.
It started with brainworms, right? I had brainworms to survive brainworms. Then I ate a dog. I didn't eat a dog, and then a picture of him eating a dog surfaces on the internet.
He ate a dog?
There was a picture of him biting into a dog in Vietnam somewhere.
Wow.
As it looks like he's joking. Then there was the whole bear cub weirdness with Rosa and Barr.
Oh, extraordinary.
So great.
Extraordinary.
And
they found the news story of the bear cub. Remember they found the video of the news
It was a big deal in New York, yeah, and he's the guy who did it, right? But, I mean, unpredictable, funny turns from this guy. Today, RFK cut the head off a whale and drove it to his house. So says his daughter. When she was 6, her dad chopped off the head of a whale that washed up on Squaw Island in Hyannisport.
All right.
Due to her dad's love of studying animals, they strapped the dead whale's head to the car and spent 5 hours driving it to their home. And here's where it gets good. Every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car. And it was the rankest thing on the planet, said the Kennedy girl. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out, and people on the highway were giving us the finger. But that was just normal day-to-day stuff for us.
That's awesome. And by awesome, I mean so creepy.
Serial killers start with animals often.
You just after brainworms, I thought there's no other weird stuff.
Yeah.
And now here's the 4th revelation of a guy that's dropped out of the race. He cut the head off a whale and drove it home.
At least the whale was dead and washed up on the beach.
I can't keep thinking
a little better about that.
The comparison to his more famous brother.
Yeah.
Ask not what you can do. Put the whale head on the Chrysler.
That's so
Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Wipe the whale juice off the windshield and shut up.
Susan, just hold your breath or poke a hole in the bag.
Efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. Yes, that's a fucking whale on the road. I mean, the comparison of quotes is the greatest thing.
Awesome. Now it makes sense why Rogan was all about this guy. These are very Rogan moves.
I don't think Rogan would take a bite of a dog, but I don't want to speculate about that. I think his hobby of dissecting animals really needs to be looked at. That's a weird one.
Really strange.
And to pick up, what's the smallest whale in the world? That head is still
a big fucking head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about
that's pretty wild.
A whale.
Where did he dissect it? Kitchen table. He did kitchen table.
The best road to progress is Freedom's Road. The best road to drive a whalehead on without getting
is the 91 freeway.
It's Route 24.
From Hyannisport. My dad won a near pin contest at Rose Kennedy sponsored golf tournament in Hyannisport, and he got a clear kayak out of it.
Look, I'm from Massachusetts, man. We held the Kennedys in very high esteem.
Maybe we shouldn't have.
And we don't anymore. Anyway, that's our show. See you next week on Spike's
Thanks
Car
for
Radio.
coming to us, Spike.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday and be sure to subscribe. Now, I'm gonna take a nap.